A very good day to Dr. Shafika. I'm Rajendran, son of RAMISH. My metric card number A1980809 and I'm from Group 11. Today I want to present about my part in this research, which is introduction. So let's start with the business background. The purpose of this research is to investigate the effect of pandemic COVID-19 towards the financial performance of SMEs in Malaysia. The current and rising global convergence influence the rate at which certain infectious disease spread. These studies are expected to propose possible coping techniques, procedures, and guidelines to limit the impact of pandemic COVID-19 on the financial performance of SMEs in Malaysia and the global economy in the future. The sample of this study were collected from SMEs in Malaysia. Moving to the problem statement, the first problem that local entrepreneurs in Malaysia have identified is the technology cost. Over time, technology has advanced rapidly around the world, allowing people to connect via social media, phone calls, and text message. As a result, SMEs are attempting to adapt to current technology in order to gain new skills, expand their knowledge, and attract new customers. The second issue is the lockdown. Government support within countries has disproportionately benefit SMEs in the sector most impacted by lockdown measure and those with significant sales reduction. The third issue involved is infectious disease. COVID-19 control necessitates immediate action to help the disease spread. COVID-19 is easily transmitted from symptomatic people to other in close proximity. This caused majority of SMEs business have to close their store or malls, resulting in slew new problems such as losing customer, thus revenues. Continue with research question. There are three questions. The first question is there any relationship between technology cost and financial performance of SMEs in Malaysia? The second is there any relationship between lockdown and financial performance of SMEs in Malaysia? The third question is there any relationship between infectious disease and financial performance of SMEs in Malaysia? Moving to the research objective, there are three objectives. The first objective is to determine the relationship between technology cost and financial performance of SMEs in Malaysia. The second objective is to determine the relationship between lockdown and financial performance of SMEs in Malaysia. The third objective is to determine the relationship between infectious disease and financial performance of SMEs in Malaysia. Moving to the research significances, SMEs appear to having a significant difficulties managing their operation, revenues, and finance. By completing this research, we will know about SMEs face difficulties in performing their operational activities and serve financial performance during the COVID-19 crisis. Its help SMEs with this work strategy can help them survive, improve their stability, and thus contribute to the economy ability to withstand crises. Continue with research scope. The goal of this research was to look into the pandemic effect on the scope of SMEs financial performance in order to understand the implication and consequences of pandemic COVID-19. This research is limited to the financial impact of pandemic on Malaysian business. The study will employ quantitative data to achieve this goal. This is the conclusion to the introduction chapter. The following chapter will be discussed by my group members. Thank you.
Good day, madam. My name is Ishwaran Morgan and my metric number is A19A0126. In this chapter, I am going to explain about dependent variable and independent variable. The independent variable of this chapter and that our research is ongoing is lockdown, infection disease, and technology cost. And the dependent variable is the financial performance of small and medium enterprise during pandemic of COVID-19. So now, the dependent variable for our research is financial performance of small and medium enterprise SMEs Malaysia. Dependent variable affected by independent variables. Small and medium-sized enterprise SMEs are the most important sources of economic growth in Malaysia. Because to the COVID-19 epidemic, Malaysia has seen an influx of new small and medium-sized enterprises. Even though the effect of COVID-19 differs from one and another, it has an impact on the economy and any other entities that can give goods to the country. Moreover, around 35% of work is given by the sub-area, indicating the significance of outfitting the possibilities in developing the Ghanaian economy. Hence, budgetary proficiency impacts whether little scope endeavors succeed. So now we will see the independent variables. First is relationship between technology costs and financial performance of small and medium enterprises in Malaysia. Investments in computers and other technologies that do not immediately boost profitability are included in technology costs. However, technology is a critical instrument for effectively balancing business performance. Due to that, the cost of technology cannot impact financial success, especially during this COVID-19. The expenses of leading technology could not be offset by operational or competitive against without appropriate coordination between technology plans and corporate planning, which could be declined financial performance. That technical element in SMEs growth decreases overall cost and contributes to the SMEs activity performance. So as a result, the first independent variable, which is technology cost, affects financial performance of small and medium enterprises in Malaysia. Second independent variable is relationship between infection disease and financial performance of small and medium enterprise in Malaysia. Infection disease come in the pandemic of COVID-19. The 2019 coronavirus disease COVID-19 is recognized as a respiratory illness. Due to that, the rate at which infection diseases spread is one of the primary factors contributing to the difficulties and roadblocks that now exist. During the time of the pandemic caused by COVID-19, all different kinds of products saw a shift in their customer base. It has an effect on both their monthly and annually profit. Customers are assisted to purchase goods from the small and medium firm because they are worried of contracting the contagious disease. So as a result, infection disease affects financial performance of a small and medium enterprise in Malaysia. Now we are going to see about the third independent variable is relationship between lockdown and financial performance of small and medium enterprise in Malaysia. Movement control, lockdown, confinement and social distancing are amongst the government's efforts to be safeguard unprecedented public health and economic responses. Therefore, containment tactics such as absolute lockdown and movement limitations harm output, lowered sales and reduced revenue, resulting in a cash crunch, starvation, illness, mortality, unemployment and poverty, among other things. These impediments have an impact on the financial performance of Malaysia's small and medium enterprises SMEs. As a result, we can see lockdown costs affect financial performance of small and medium enterprise in Malaysia. So now we are going to see the gaps in existing knowledge and conceptual framework. A research gap is a question or a problem that has not been answered by any of existing studies or research within your field. Based on the information collected through the literature, search and discussion, a review was conducted of the available knowledge and research related to the effect of pandemic COVID-19 towards financial performance of SMEs in Malaysia. So we have identified a knowledge gap from the mismatch among the demand and supply of the institutional price range for SMEs. Financing SMEs are vital, but delivery from financial institutions is largely unavailable. Over 34% of business had temporarily closed, and nearly all of these closures were due to COVID-19. Business that had temporarily closed largely pointed to the reductions in demand and with this description in the supply chain of being less of a factor. Business across many sectors of the economy have faced a significant decline in revenue or profit as a result of COVID-19. So now we are going to see about the conceptual framework. The conceptual framework includes one or more formal theories in a part of world as well as other concepts and empirical findings from the literature. So it is used to show relationship along these ideas and how they relate to research study. So this study aims to develop a conceptual framework linking to the effect of pandemic COVID-19 towards financial performance of SMEs in Malaysia. So we have illustrated that there are three hypotheses, which is positive relationship between infection disease and financial performance of small and medium enterprise in Malaysia. And second is a positive relationship between technology costs and the financial performance of small and medium enterprise in Malaysia. And lastly is the third relationship is the positive relationship between lockdown and financial performance of small and medium enterprise in Malaysia. I shows there are three hypotheses I have done in this chapter.
Hi, very good day to Dr. Shafika. My name is Elvin Lozengin and my metric number is A19A0038. So for today, I will present to Doctor about my part in this research that we have conducted for part 3, which is the research design and methodology. So in this part, there will be three aspects which I will focus on presenting, which are the research design, method resources, and sampling. So without wasting any time, I will proceed to the first aspect, which is research design. So in research design, the quantitative research approach was employed in this study for better understanding the link between the dependent variable financial performance and the independent variables infectious illness, lockdown, and technology costs of SMEs in Malaysia during the COVID-19 pandemic. Also, for our research, the study's primary data has been obtained and it will be examined using a questionnaire survey. Okay, now moving on to the second part, which is the method resources. So our research looks at three main factors that influence the financial performance of SMEs in Malaysia under COVID-19, which are the technological cost, infectious sickness, and lockdown. Okay, so for part A of the questionnaire asks about the respondents' demographics such as their age, gender, race, and educational status. And as for part B, we will ask the respondent to agree or disagree with the statements on the financial success using a five-star pointer Likert scale. Okay, for measurement scale, our research will be using three scales, which are nominal, ordinal, and interval. A pre-test in the research design was the provision of a data collecting instrument to a limited sample of respondents from a population. Questionnaires were distributed across numerous internet sites as part of this pre-test. As I have mentioned earlier, the goal of the study, namely a factor of validation and satisfaction, causation study in the context of Malaysian small and medium-sized businesses (SMEs), is addressed by the questionnaire. Okay, so the usage of the same data gathering tool, like for example, formal questionnaire, was used in the study's creation. Okay, for the last part, lastly, which is sampling. The study's goal is to figure out what factors influence SMEs' financial success in Malaysia. Let me give you an example. Like for example, the Department of Finance Malaysia (DOSM) projects that will be 1,151,339 or 97 SMEs in Malaysia in 2020. And based on the current statistics in Malaysia's Statistical Business Register (MSBR), only 2% of commercial enterprises are open 24 hours a day. Okay, systematic sampling is another technique because it specifies the strategy in advance analytical planning in the most worthwhile time investment because it reduces reporting bias and deviation. Because this was a quantitative study, the researcher used a descriptive statistics to examine the data. So descriptive statistics may help to identify the important elements of various types of data in research, and other than that, to establish how consistent the measurements is between the independent and dependent variables were. The researcher used a reliability test, and lastly, the Pearson correlation coefficient was used in the investigation to determine the connection between the independent and dependent variables. And that is all for me to have to present to Doctor for today for my part, which is the part 3. And I'll now hand it over to my last teammates to present for the last part. Thank you.
Good day, madam. I'm HEMALATHA. My metric number A19A0177. Lastly, Chapter 4 Practical Implications. The primary goal of this research was to look into the impact of pandemic COVID-19 on financial performance of Malaysian SME. We study and examine closely related research articles and journals, paying special attention to the techniques. This research can help new entrepreneurs develop a plan that will help them avoid financial risk during MCO seasons, as well as be well prepared in the event of future strategies other than COVID-19 pandemic. To ensure continuity and survival after the pandemic, develop a strategy business to address the negative effect of the crisis on their business. Secondly, theoretical implication. First, the value added of research is that it uses of appraisal model to reveal the background of different response strategy pursued by SME top managers during the current COVID-19 pandemic. Secondly, SME executives should stay current on necessary business information solution, whether through networking with other entrepreneurs, consultation or training, to assist them in making rational decisions to get through the deal. Third, SME executives should keep their plans and strategy up to date in order to maintain the flexibility needed to respond to COVID-19. Fourth, because of SME post-pandemic situation will be very different from their pre-pandemic situation. SME should develop a strategy business to address the negative effect of the crisis on their business to ensure and survive. Thank you, madam.